Well, not everybody gets to have Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. So you have to be willing to buy into a guy like this that can keep things on schedule and give you a chance.
Kyle Crabbs and Joe Marino, the Draft Dudes here, Joe. And we spend a lot of time on the Draft Dudes podcast talking about player evaluation and team building philosophies. And one of the interesting things that always kind of comes as a result of that and being and working in this space is we develop our own kind of palettes for what kinds of players we like, we don't like, how we would make decisions if we were in certain people's shoes. And no decision is bigger than the decision to marry yourself to a franchise quarterback. And you this week over at the Draft Network wrote something about Florida quarterback Kyle Trask, which probably was a fairly polarizing opinion on whether or not you would draft Kyle Trask as a first-round prospect. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you feel, and then we can get into how our quarterback scope has changed over the course of years of working together.
Evaluating Kyle Trask for that article and whether or not I was going to say this is a first-round quarterback or not, it was very enlightening for me because I did the work. I watched 5 of his games from this year, and I really dug into the skill set. And he's a likable player. He's very accurate with the football. I think he handles pressure well. All 3 levels of the field, he's capable of challenging it. I think he reads the defense well and does a good job finding leverage and giving his guys chances to make plays on the football. And he's obviously extremely productive there in Florida this year, the leader for the Heisman Trophy, in my view. But when you really ask yourself, is this a first-round quarterback, I was left saying, no, there's too many limitations here. I don't see the arm talent. I don't see the mobility. And when I take his moments at Florida where he's able to win off script and extend plays, and I translate that to the next level, I have a hard time buying in. And Kyle, I go back to the free agency period, the first time that Kirk Cousins was on the market. And I remember it was the Jets. The Bills might have been interested. Denver, obviously he goes to Minnesota. And I remember at that time thinking, all of these teams should be very aggressive to get Kirk Cousins. And the mentality that I had was, well, not everybody gets to have Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. So you have to be willing to buy into a guy like this that can keep things on schedule and give you a chance. I want more out of my quarterbacks, Kyle. And I think as we've seen some of these young quarterbacks develop and come into the league and show what they can do and how the league is trending, guys like Kyle Trask are not players that I value maybe like I did 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, it's what's the saying? No risk it, no biscuit, right? Like there has to be that level of untapped potential if a guy's not a slam dunk Trevor Lawrence caliber of a prospect, right? So you look at these guys who are late risers or fringe, or they put together a really strong individual season before they enter the NFL draft process, and you have to be able to sell yourselves as being more than just what you were in that 1 year. And you think about Kyle Trask, and good decision maker with the football, prototypical size, but he really doesn't have a prototypical arm as far as pushing the ball to all levels of the field and having a lot of velocity. And we are seeing with Justin Herbert the fruits of the labor that come with risk it equals biscuit, because Justin Herbert has the arm ability to access any level of the field from any angle, regardless of whether he has his feet set or not, just because of how good his arm is. And, he was somebody that frustrated people throughout the course of his career at Oregon because they felt he kind of plateaued. Well, the dirty little secret with Justin Herbert is he never received any quarterback coaching outside of Eugene, Oregon. So that was the untapped potential that Justin Herbert had to sell to other teams. So for Kyle Trask, if you don't have the physical components, this is a player with a small sample size as far as playing as a starting quarterback at the collegiate level. So you don't have experience. You're not a well-polished prospect. And while you do make good decisions with the football, you are accurate. You let your playmakers make plays. Where is that ability to extend yourself for a game breaker at the quarterback position? You often reference Lance Zierlein talking about game breakers versus snap takers.
Mm-hmm.
And that line in the sand, if you're a snap taker, I can't draft you in round 1 or round 2 or probably not even round 3. If there's a quarterback I'm willing to take in the first top 100 picks, it's probably because that quarterback I feel like can be my starting quarterback. And if not, day 3 is probably where I personally would find myself coveting those players.
When you look at Trask and just when he does get off script and has to really find some velocity, you don't see it. The ball dives on him. Everything with him is a touch throw. And I'm not sitting here pounding the table for accurate or arm strength as the number one strength that a player has to have at quarterback. But when you're watching guys like Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert or Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, even Josh Allen at this point, Dak Prescott, all these young quarterbacks, and you really see how dynamic they can be in today's NFL, and you're searching for commonality between them and Kyle Trask, you really kind of come up empty when it comes to plugging Trask into those types of situations. And what it does, Kyle, is it puts a lot of stress on you as the organization to get things right around that quarterback, getting the right offensive line, getting the right weapons, having a good enough defense where there's not more stress on him to do more than he's capable of doing. And when you put your stamp on a guy in the first round, you're saying, this is my franchise quarterback. This is the future of this football team. I want more from my first-round quarterbacks.
Yeah, your first-round quarterback shouldn't have to drag the entire franchise behind it, but it should at the very least be able to elevate certain components of the rest of the offensive unit and give you a fighting chance. And I think Deshaun Watson's a great example because everybody knows he threw, 49 miles per hour at the combine, and everybody got the narrative that he doesn't have this big, strong arm. Go watch some of the seam throws he threw against the New England Patriots and tell me he doesn't have a strong arm. But the athletic component of him as a player, the athletic component of the Dak Prescotts and Pat Mahomes' and Kyler Murray's of the world, those are the players that give you that ability to still create big plays, even when the defense has the perfect play call to counter what you're running on offense. And Kyle Trask not being a great athlete, he's another one of these guys we think about, quarterbacks like Davis Webb and Mason Rudolph. Yep. Those kinds of productive, really good college quarterbacks with prototypical size. That's kind of a whole separate subdivision. And you've seen the NFL kind of draw that line in the sand, and it will be very fascinating to see if the NFL draws the same line in the sand with Kyle Trask.